Valdez versus Navarrete. This is the post-fight, and I'm going to do my full breakdown of it on the podcast tomorrow, but wanted to give my thoughts out there on it without highlights, etc. Don't have time to get that off the ground today. So just give my overall freestyle thoughts on it, and beautiful, fun, great, exciting fight. And that was come to expect it, right? I mean, that's what we expected from this fight. Two warriors, Mexico versus Mexico. It's what we expected. These styles were going to mesh perfectly. Navarrete, there is a method to his madness. He doesn't get enough credit for the nuance that he fights with, and I'll throw myself in that. I didn't give him enough credit for the nuance that he has, rolling with punches, picking shots off with his shoulder as being the taller fighter, pressure fighter. On top of that, what makes Navarrete great at what he does is he's never cut. He has never been cut in his career. So for a guy who can throw 100 punches per round, pressure fighter, coming forward, he has an awkward style. So that's the first method to his madness, is he's doing things in there that's nuanced, and he throws off the timing of his opponent. And on top of that, in order to fight the style that he fights, where his offense is his defense, there has to be nuance to it. And on top of that, you have to have durability, stamina, and you have to be able to take hellacious shots and continue to move forward. And in this fight, 5th, 6th round, Valdez started to land some of those big hooks that we expected him to land, right? And people like myself, once again, I'll throw myself in this, fully transparent, I thought those shots would have a lot more effect on Navarrete than they did, and they didn't. He walked straight through him. So to fight that type of style, how often do we see a guy fight that type of style and just never be cut? He's after the fight in his cowboy hat, looking like was never in a fight. After catching all those shots, walking through them, and he continues to move forward. Where I thought this fight got interesting was late in the 10th round. On my scorecard anyway, it started to get a bit interesting to where Valdez could try to make it a draw in the fight if he keeps going. He wins 9, he wins 10. But in the beginning of the 11th round, Navarrete said, nope. We're not doing this. In the last 5 minutes of that fight, Navarrete was just on point. He went to a gear that Valdez was not able to match, and he took the fight. And I had it 8-4 on my scorecard. I don't really have a problem with 9-3, 10-2, because a couple of those rounds I gave Valdez I thought were close, and you can argue they're comparative rounds. So for the scorecards, people saying they're too wide, 9-3, 10-2, to me, those are fair scorecards. And props to Valdez. I think this is what's missed from a lot of online boxing fans, is a lot of them don't attend fights and don't know the culture of actually going to fights and enjoying yourself. Everybody I know who went to this fight last night had a blast, and part of that is due to Valdez performing well as well, and making this an intriguing fight, and walking through hellacious shots, and fighting with one eye closed, and being hurt, and doing some things well, and making this a two-sided fight as the fight went on, and making it the fight that it was billed to be, right? An exciting fight between two great fighters. So even in a loss, I'm a bigger fan of both of these fighters after the fight than I was going in. For me as a fan, I got what I needed out of this. It's exciting, and you don't throw away fighters after a loss. If you do that, then fighters just don't want to take chances. They don't want to be in fights like this if you're not going to give them the proper credit. And to me, Valdez, I tip my hat to him. He went in there, showed a lot of heart, fought his best fight, the best fight that he could execute realistically. Landed the shots that we thought he would land. They just didn't have the effect we thought they would have. The big difference in this fight, realistically, than I thought we were going to see on paper, is early on in the fight when Navarrete is on offense. Navarrete starts fast, right? I did not expect Navarrete to start that fast. Valdez is so tense. He's tensing up instead of countering on those shots, and you got to give Navarrete credit for that. His offense is his defense. Valdez is tense up and can't properly counterpunch until he starts getting things going in the 5th and 6th round. But for Valdez, even in a loss, It's that culture we talk about, right? If you actually go to fights, you'll see Valdez pop up at fights in the future, and people will walk up to him and say, hey, can my son get an autograph? Can my son get a picture with you? That's a great fight you fought with Navarrete. Thank you for that. Thank you for the fight that you gave us. Thank you for the memories. It's about the memories. It's about how these fighters make you feel. And Valdez did that last night, even in a loss. Credit to him, man. Fighters fight the fights. He's a warrior. He went in there. He just ran into a buzzsaw last night. He ran into a raging inferno last night. The story of the night is, yes, great fights, memories, moments, fights. Okay, but it's also Navarrete. He's better than I gave him credit for. And I was on the Navarrete train. I'm a fan of his, always have been, but at the same time, I didn't give him enough credit for the nuance and the skill that he has. And he's able to fight a technical fight if he wants to, but his money is in throwing 100 punches per round. Being able to take shots and walk right through them. And ESPN was giving Valdez, I felt, too much credit in rounds 5, 6, middle rounds for landing shots that I felt like Navarrete was rolling off of. He does a great job of rolling off of shots, getting on the inside and then going to work, and then landing his shots on the outside from awkward positions. He's landing uppercuts from the outside, and they're having effect on Valdez. So Navarrete is just going to be a handful, man. He is a better fighter than I give him credit for. I always knew he was an exciting fighter, really good. I felt his stock started to drop the last couple of fights, the Liam Wilson fight, etc. But certain guys show up when it counts, man. And this guy hasn't lost a fight in, what, a decade, over a decade? Hasn't been cut. He's just going to be a handful for anybody, especially in big fights, because he's a big fighter. He proved that last night. So hats off to Navarrete. I'll have a lot more to say about that. Hats off to Valdez as well. Good performance in a loss, really good performance in a loss, and we shouldn't be shaming fighters after losses if they're behaving like fighters, right? So hope both fighters get well soon and get back in the ring, because these are two exciting fighters I'll be looking for in the future. Y'all hit me up in the comment section below. God bless. Peace.